Chapter 6: The Final Challenge. The laughter and clinking of mugs echoed throughout the Gilded Acorn, and the energy in the air was palpable. The three adventurers, Roderick, Thorgar, and Shadowleaf, had made quite a spectacle of themselves, each competing in a variety of games, drawing in the patrons with their feats of strength, cunning, and wit. The tavern was alive with cheers and friendly bets as each challenge intensified. But as the night stretched on, the door of the Gilded Acorn creaked open once again, and the chill from the outside world slipped in. The fire in the hearth flickered in response, as if startled by the intrusion. The familiar figure in the corner, Elda Fenroot, had been watching the trio with growing interest, her sharp eyes taking in their every move. After a long pause, she finally stood, her hands trembling only slightly as she pushed herself up from her chair. The room's energy shifted subtly, something about her age and the quiet intensity in her gaze, commanded attention. The young adventurers, now seated in the midst of their latest challenge, glanced up as Elda slowly made her way toward their table. Roderick, who had been chuckling at a particularly impressive arm wrestling match between Thorgar and a local farmer, was the first to notice her approach. "Well, what do we have here?" he said, raising an eyebrow in curiosity. Elda's eyes met his, and she gave a small, enigmatic smile. "I think it's time to add a little more spice to the evening's games." Thorgar's grin grew wider, and he slapped the table. "Ah, the old woman wants to join in. Good, good. I knew it was only a matter of time before someone else wanted a taste of this fine competition." Shadowleaf, ever the skeptic, studied Elda with a critical eye. "You want to join in the games?" she asked, her voice dripping with amusement. "What would you wager? A coin? Or perhaps something more personal?" Elda's eye sparkled with a glint of mischief. "Oh, not coins, my dear. But I think I can offer something of far more value than gold, if you're up for it." She paused for a moment, letting the words linger in the air before she continued. "I'll place my own challenges on the table. If you can beat me, I'll open up about the troubles of this land. But if I win, then you will owe me one favor. A task of my choosing, no questions asked." The tension in the room shifted slightly, the patrons who had been watching now leaning in to hear the terms of the challenge. The three adventurers exchanged glances, their competitive spirits rising. "Well, it seems we've all got something to prove, don't we?" Roderick said, his grin widening. "What kind of challenges are we talking about, exactly? We're not exactly amateurs in the game of wits and might." Elda nodded, her gaze moving from one adventurer to the next. "I'll offer you 3 tests. The first, a game of memory. I'll tell you a series of items, and you'll have to recall them in order. The second, a test of agility. You will have to balance a coin on a thin ledge for a full minute, all while answering my riddles. And the third will be a test of trust. You'll each need to pick a partner from the group and take turns blindfolding each other. The one who can walk the longest distance without falling or hesitating wins." Thorgar's hearty laugh filled the room. "A memory game? Now you're playing with fire, old woman. I can remember every scrap of meat I've eaten in the past decade. And I'll take you up on your agility challenge too. But that third test, well, we shall see if you can handle my size when I'm blindfolded." Roderick gave a thoughtful nod. "Memory, agility, and trust. I like the sound of this. But I don't like the idea of owing anyone anything, so let's make it interesting. If we win, we get the answers we're seeking. If you win, you get the favor." Shadowleaf chuckled, her fingers lightly tapping the table. "And if we win, you won't have to worry about paying us back. I'm quite skilled with a coin, or in this case, a little silver charm." She flashed a quick smile, her fingers moving as though they were already slipping something from her pocket. Elda's eyes never wavered. "I'll hold you to that, then." With the terms set, the room was charged with anticipation. Elda seated herself at the table, her presence commanding silence as she prepared to lead the first challenge. "Let's begin with the game of memory," she said, her voice smooth and calm. "I'll tell you a list of 5 items, and you must repeat them back to me in order." She leaned forward, her eyes narrowing slightly as she began. The first item is a red ribbon. The second, a silver coin. The third, a leather-bound book. The fourth, a sprig of lavender. And the fifth, a golden brooch. The 3 adventurers looked at each other, each already committing the items to memory. Elda waited for a few moments, then nodded. "Now, in order. Let's hear them." Roderick spoke first, his voice steady. "A red ribbon, a silver coin, a leather-bound book, a sprig of lavender, and a golden brooch." "Correct," Elda said, nodding approvingly. Shadowleaf followed suit. "A red ribbon, a silver coin, a leather-bound book, a sprig of lavender, and a golden brooch." Thorgar scratched his beard, his face scrunched in concentration. "A red ribbon, silver coin, a leather-bound book, sprig of lavender, and a golden brooch." The crowd of onlookers chuckled as the dwarf struggled, but Elda gave him a gentle smile. "Close enough, Thorgar. You'll get it next time." The challenge passed in good humor, but as the evening wore on, the games grew more intense. The coin balancing and riddles had the trio laughing at themselves, especially as Shadowleaf struggled to balance the coin without letting it fall while answering Elda's trickiest riddles. The trust challenge, where they were blindfolded and led around the tavern, revealed not just skill, but a surprising camaraderie among the 3 adventurers, who despite their individual styles, managed to trust each other in their own ways. At last, the final round arrived, and Elda leaned back in her chair, her sharp eyes scanning the 3 of them carefully. "Well done," she said softly, almost to herself. "You've each proven something. Roderick, your wit is as sharp as a sword. Thorgar, your heart and strength are undeniable. And you, Shadowleaf, you may have your secrets, but you're as clever as the best." Elda paused, her gaze lingering on them a little longer before she continued, her voice softer now, but with an undercurrent of warmth. "It seems you're more than capable. So, I'll tell you what you need to know. But first, remember this, I don't offer these challenges lightly. I needed to know that I could trust you and that you could face the dangers ahead. The land is shifting. The old forces are stirring again. And there's a darkness that has begun to take root in these woods. I fear it's only the beginning." She looked at them one by one, her expression now more serious than before. "You've earned my trust. And perhaps, together, you can stop what is coming." The flicker of hope Elda had felt earlier bloomed fully in her chest now. Her heart was lighter, though the weight of what lay ahead was still heavy on her mind. Roderick, Thorgar, and Shadowleaf were no longer just strangers. They had proven themselves worthy of the task that awaited them.